Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Beth, and for today's video I have my fall 2025 FabFitFun box to share with you all. So this is really going to be more of a demo than a strict unboxing. I have already peeked inside to make sure everything was accounted for, and obviously I took out the sweatshirt that I got, and I tried some other products as well. So this may be out of order in terms of, I guess, the customizations, but I will have timestamps down below if you'd like to jump ahead to a particular portion. But with all that being said, I'll go ahead and show you the box. So kind of the normal packaging style they've been using recently. And I did pay for expedited shipping. So it is Saturday night as I'm filming this, and it arrived on Friday afternoon, I think around 4, in the DC area where I live. So on the East Coast, it took that length of time from when customization closed for annual members, in case you're curious. They used a company called, I think, SpeedX as the carrier, which I'm not totally enthralled with, but in any case, it arrived in one piece to my door, or to my apartment complex, I should say. So that is what the inside looks like. And they have gone to this kind of QR code instead of the scratch off. So I think I already tried this, but let me just double check. It's taking me to a way to download the app, which I already have. All right, so I'll mess around with that later. I don't think I'm going to be a winner there, but in any case. So as I said, I did already kind of rummage around in this box, and I guess I'll kind of quickly give you the lay of the land here. So I did get the Glow Recipe Guava Vitamin C Dark Spot Serum as one of my choices. The Iconic London spray I already had, but I kind of put that in here just to demo again. The bronzer I already had. I had one shade of the blush, normal packing material. Also HelloFresh and Rent the Runway. Junk mail. So I did get another shade of the blush. This is in the shade Cheer, which I guess is Selena's favorite shade apparently. So we'll try that out. I did get the Thrive Liquid Brow Gel. So we'll try that. I got the Sunday Citizen blanket. So that's still in the package. We'll unwrap that. Let's see, this is the Ilia Highlighter, so I'll try that on. There are 2 Merit products. I got one shade of the lipstick, so this is in the shade Maison, and then also the Shade Slick in the shade Pink Beat. So I'll try those. And I did get the Pantone journal, so I'll talk about that. Obviously the sweatshirt I'm wearing. The Xmondo Super Gloss that I already tried. I'll talk about that. The Hourglass Voyeur eyeshadow stick in the shade Galaxy, which is the purple shade. And then the grand finale here. They added this as a luxe choice. So this is the Pat McGrath Mothership Palette 11 Sunlit Seduction. So I didn't have this one. I opted not to buy it when it first came out. But for the price, you know, I kind of went for it. So that color story, I guess, informed some of my other choices. And I didn't end up getting multiple shades of a lot of products just because it was already getting kind of expensive. So just to let you know there, and I'll quickly run through at the end what I didn't get. Okay, so just to show you quickly, this is the inside of the box. They always put all the fun printing and everything on the inside. I don't know if I'll keep this box or not. Sometimes I do if it's shipped inside of a larger box, because the actual FabFitFun box tends to be in better shape. When it's just shipped by itself, it can be a little kind of battered. Okay, so let's go ahead. I guess I'll talk about this sweatshirt that I'm roasting in here. It did get up to 90 in the DC area. So I can't say I'm thrilled to be wearing a sweatshirt right now. But I got my usual size of extra large, and you can see it is quite kind of boxy and oversized. I think I could have sized down, to be honest. So there's my belly button, my hips are about there, and I'm about 5'10", so lengthwise, you know, I think I could have handled it being a little shorter. I'm happy with the length, but just in terms of sizing down, I think it would have been fine. If you are shorter than I am, you'll probably have no problem there. The sleeves are plenty long, and the side or shoulder seam is actually quite a bit off the shoulder. So even if you are tall or broad-shouldered or whatever, like that's the actual contours of my body, I think I could have sized down. I think it's meant to be oversized. So I think that was kind of intentional, but again, I'm roasting in it now because it's almost 90 degrees out, but I think I could have handled it being a large instead of an extra large, but you know, it's fine for what it is. Let me talk about the blanket, which is a fairly good color match. These are different brands and everything. So, Sunday Citizen. I've never tried this brand before. It says, because Mondays can wait. Your first cozy treat is on us. Enjoy 20% off your first purchase. So I don't know if that's the same discount that is in the FabFitFun page, or if you'll just be able to use that regardless of whether you are a subscriber. But let's see. It does feel nice. Definitely shrink wrapped. Okay. Whew. It is a nice color in person, and it does feel soft. Hopefully this won't shed or anything like that. I'd say, where's my Barefoot Dreams? I'd say it does feel softer than the Barefoot Dreams, but you know, this has been through the wash several times, but they seem to be kind of a similar style of fabric. So just by way of comparison, hopefully this will also be kind of a nice lightweight blanket layer, because sometimes, like I said, the unhide blankets can be a little warm for what I need. So yeah, that's the blanket. Let's talk about, I guess, all of these kind of dark cherry colors together. So this is the Pantone Notebook that I talked about. It has a very smooth surface to it, and the elastic to hold it shut. Okay, so this is what it looks like with the packaging taken off. And on the inside here, it says, color is a catalyst for feelings about how we look, decorate our home or office, plant in our garden, and relate to each other. Every color conveys its own unique message and meaning. The right colors stimulate or relax our senses, release happy memories, and reflect how we feel about ourselves and our personal space. And that's from, I'm going to butcher it, but Latrice Eisman, the executive director of the Pantone Color Institute. So that's what that looks like. Has a little place for you to put your name. And the paper, it feels pretty thin, but nice and smooth. And yeah, oh, and this is the pocket, I think, on the back. So if you wanted to slide anything in there, and yeah, there was a ribbon as well, which is kind of tucked up in the notebook. So yeah, no complaints there. It's a pretty slim notebook. And for reference, this is the Pantone one I talked about in my What Will I Choose series. I think size-wise, I think they're pretty much identical. The Pantone one is just a bit thicker. And I think I said this particular Pantone notebook was unlined. So yeah, this will be good for any random note-taking I need to do. And I already kind of touched on the Xmondo. So I did use this today. I washed my hair and I just used this. I think this is the only hair product I used. I used the Dyson Air Straight, and then I finished it with the main hot tool, just to kind of give the ends a little bit more of a bend and just kind of polish things off a little bit. So I think it did a decent job, I guess, of like protecting my hair and helping it feel smooth. I will say the nozzle on this, I felt like it was a little bit difficult to control. Maybe I'm just not used to using this style of product, but I feel like I was spraying it in my ears or in my eyes at various points. But yeah, you were able to spray it quite generously. I do like the smell of it. I don't know if he says anywhere what the smell is, but I found it to be quite nice. So let's see if I can find it. So I think they sell this at his website, and then Sally Beauty, I think, also carries him or his products. So they say that it is a seductive yet clean aroma that is confident and unforgettable with notes of yuzu, jasmine, and golden amber. So that's interesting. You can also get it as a hair and body mist. So if you just wanted the scent without like the hair benefits, I guess. So yeah, so that's it for this. And I also used the Glow Recipe Guava Vitamin C Dark Spot Serum earlier today. Obviously it's too early to say whether it's doing anything really in terms of like the actives, but that is what it looks like. It's quite interesting with these kind of grooves in it. And it comes out a little bit more like salmon pink colored, I guess, than I was expecting. So that is the kind of texture. Worked well with all my other skincare products. Doesn't really smell like anything, so that's good. So far so good on this one. I didn't notice any irritation or anything, not that I was expecting to. But yeah, we'll see how that does. We are heading into fall, so hopefully I won't be getting quite as much sun exposure, but I like to stay indoors anyway. Okay, let's go ahead and try out this Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Brow. I haven't done anything to my brows yet. So that is what the tube looks like, pretty basic. One thing I do like about the brow setter, this is again like a travel or mini size. I find that this style of cap makes it a little bit easier to kind of open. Not that a smooth cap is necessarily difficult to open, it's just, I don't know, a little less ergonomic, I guess. So let's go ahead and throw this in the brows. So again, that is what the wand looks like, and I'll compare it to the brow setter. So yeah, not actually identical. It looks like the Thrive has a little bit like more space in between some of the bristles. So let's go ahead and put maybe the Thrive in the right brow and the Benefit in the left. So I did trim and kind of clean up my brows a little bit earlier today, so they should be in pretty good shape. But that is what the Thrive looks like. And then the Benefit, I'll do the left. So this tube has been open for a little bit, so it might just be a little bit thicker anyway. But pretty identical. I guess it's possible that the kind of wider teeth of the Thrive, you know, creates more kind of gaps in my brows, but I think that's only something you would really notice if you were looking for something like that. So I'll let that dry down a bit and we'll kind of compare the hold levels. And I didn't use any of the bronzer yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in more of the shade Eclipse. I did already use the Rare Beauty liquid contour. I put a little bit of that on my forehead and on my cheeks. So there's a little bit of that going on. I guess I'll just go in with my BK 105 brush. So I wore this in the video where I talked about it. Not really kind of my favorite product. I think I prefer something with a little less luminosity to it, but I'm just gonna add a little bit more just for the sake of this video. So that's the bronzer. And then for blush, so I'll swatch the shade Hope, which I wore in my last video, next to the shade Cheer, which is the new shade. So this is Hope, and Cheer is that one next to it. So a little bit lighter, a little bit peachier maybe. I could probably kind of mix those a little bit to have kind of an ombre, like sunset cheek almost. All right, so I'm going to start off with the shade Cheer, just so you can kind of see it by itself, and focus that a little bit more towards like the front of my cheek. As a general rule, I like to keep my blush a little bit higher on the cheek because I just find that it helps with my face shape to keep it a little bit more lifted, but this is the shade Cheer, and keep in mind, I'm a little on the warm side as it is, so I'm going to be a little flushed anyway. And we are putting kind of luminosity on top of luminosity. So might have to powder a little bit more. So going in with the shade Hope, a little bit more towards the back, kind of blush draping almost. And see how that does. I'd say, I know these kind of made a splash when they first launched, but I would say you can probably get by with just one shade. Like, just pick the one that you think is going to work for you the best. I don't know that you're really going to crave more shades, but maybe I'm just projecting a little bit there. Okay, so let's go in with this Ilia highlighter. So this is the new product for me that I got in my box. Okay, so as I kind of suspected, the component size and dimensions is the same, it's just slightly different in color. So pretty big mirror there. And I think for this one, yeah, since it is a cream, I'm going to apply this with my fingertips. So it's pretty subtle. Again, this is the shade Glint. A cream highlighter is generally going to be a little bit more forgiving than a powder highlighter in terms of texture. So I don't feel like I needed a pan size this big. They probably just figured it was cheaper to keep the same component than make a new one. So that's probably why they gave you as much product as they did. But it's okay. Again, we're kind of piling on all these luminous products, so it's a little bit difficult to say. Okay, so let's throw on a lip oil for a little bit here. So this one is the shade Slick from Merit in Pink Beet. And again, I did show you kind of a discontinued shade in this formula, but this is one of the ones that is going to be available. So nice, easy, kind of relatively low pigment. Nice to throw on, keep in your handbag. So yeah, nice color. I like that one. The Instagram reel that they uploaded, I think it paired not this lipstick and this lip oil, it paired the kind of opposite ones. I will try the lip oil again over the lipstick, but for now, just to kind of keep my lips hydrated, I just wanted to show you what it looked like by itself. So let's go into the Hourglass eyeshadow stick. And as I said in my What Will I Choose video, I'm not a huge fan of this style of product, so I kind of narrowed down my options. So does this come off? I don't know if the end part comes off to sharpen. That's something you generally want to at least try. So let me scoot in a little bit here while I do my eyes. I am planning to kind of use this as like a shadow base. So that's what it looks like. I guess because it's this kind of like slant tip, it doesn't make sense to have a sharpener, but so I don't have anything on my lids yet. So let's see how this works. There was a little bit of crumbliness, and I'm just taking this rougher 2 brush just to kind of blend. So it's nice, I guess. I'm just kind of more into eyeshadow as a general rule. And I feel like there's a slight gap in between the product and my lashes. Once I apply eyeliner, that'll probably disappear, but yeah, that's how things are looking. Again, it's just kind of fine. All right, so that's a little bit more of a kind of perspective. Yeah, I don't know. I just always find like shadow sticks tend to be just as much work as eyeshadow to get them kind of blended and everything. So that's just kind of my perspective. So I'll let that hang out on my eyelids just for a little bit to see if it creases immediately, and then I'll do the Merit lipstick and the Pat McGrath palette. So removed that lip oil, and again, this is in the shade Maison. So this is their matte lipstick formula. So that's what it looks like in the tube. So yeah, it does feel very comfortable. It's reading a tad bit warmer on me than I would maybe want it to, at least with the other products I have going on. I forget what the other shade was. I think it was kind of a lighter pink color. So the other shade Classic was a neutral. It looks more pink to me on the website, but who knows. Okay, so I'm gonna apply some of the lip oil on top, which honestly I don't think is really necessary with that matte formula, but just for the sake of showing you, that's what it looks like. I don't think it changed the color much either. Like, these are pretty sheer. So I don't see any immediate creasing. I'll just go through while I have this open and just kind of run through what else I might have kind of hinted at or suggested during my other video. So the Rare Beauty body lotion, I said I was going to skip. I only ended up getting 1 shade of the Hourglass eyeshadow sticks instead of multiple. I decided not to get the Amika hair mask, not because I don't like it, but because even for the additional choice price of $14, I can get basically the same amount of product in the Dove hair mask for a few dollars less, and I like that one just fine, so I figured why not just stick with that one. Customization 6, so I only got one each of the Merit lip oils and lipsticks, and that was really just to kind of keep the cost down of my box. I ended up skipping the pie server. Never got a chance to smell the Maison Louis Marie perfume. I am going to, I think, be in the area of a Sephora tomorrow, so I might duck in quickly to see if it's in stock and I can smell it. But even if I did like it, you know, it wasn't like a must-have kind of thing. For 5, again, more Rare Beauty. I talked about the Bondi Boost in my last video, the heat protectant spray, the Skin Body Hair Identifier spray. The GMA Deals site did recently have the Dermaflash blades on one of their like flash sales, so I ended up getting, I think, 4 packs of those, like 4 of these guys. I have my skincare empties here to film. So I got 4 of those at 50% off, so I took advantage of that. Thrive, I talked about that in my last one. Let's see, the brow gel, it feels like it has dried. I think it feels pretty similar to the Benefit. So if you're a fan of that brow gel and you want to avoid having to purchase the Benefit one, I think it's a good choice. I did skip on the jewelry travel bag, again, just to keep the cost of my box down, and yeah, I decided I didn't need it, so skipped on that. I did get the Glow Recipe Dark Spot Serum. I only got 1 shade of the Rare Beauty blush, again, just to keep the cost down. If I had chosen another one, I probably would have gotten Happy, which is the cool pink, but I'm probably good on that one. The necklace, so I did see some more close-up pictures where the little charm on it is fixed. So that was kind of an easy thing to exclude at that point because I really don't care for that style of necklace. The lunch bag, I talked about an alternative. I did skip on the Orbe dry shampoo powder. I just didn't need it, or I wouldn't get immediate use out of it. So that was another thing that kind of fell on the chopping block. But I do like the way Orbe products smell. And then for 1, Nutrafol, that was another product I saw. It was on the, I think it's affiliated with QVC. I feel like I'm getting a little gathering in my lip lines here. I forget what it's called, but they have this program where basically they have items that are free. You just pay for shipping, like $13 in shipping every Friday. So I'll link that program below. I think I put it on my Instagram stories. But yeah, it's worth looking into in case something pops up that you're interested in. The Elemis Resurfacing Facial Pad. So I didn't pick these. Elemis did reach out through ShopMy, which is the affiliate platform I use, and they offered to send me a trio of products that included these facial pads. Unfortunately, those have not shown up yet, so I don't have them to kind of talk about, but if they do turn up in the near future, I'll let you know what I think. The pie dish I skipped. And yeah, I think that was everything. So again, looking at the eyeshadow stick here, it doesn't look like it's creased yet. All right, so let's get into this eyeshadow palette. So I kind of have a love-hate relationship with these because they are just beautiful as kind of objects to look at, but they're not always, I guess, the most practical. I keep mine stored in these outer cartons so I can tell them apart because otherwise they all, for the most part, kind of have the same black packaging. So it just becomes a little bit more difficult to kind of get into them. And they do have a nice heavy packaging, but I'd say it's still worth experiencing a mothership if you are a makeup lover. I don't think this is the one that I would recommend you choose for your first mothership. So that is what they look like. Nice beveled mirror, and then those are the shades. I will say there's another cover on this mirror here. For kind of a mass appeal palette, I think this is a good one to include. I seem to recall them, if I can get this plastic off, I seem to recall them having a mothership in a previous customization, but I already had it, so I didn't pick it up then. Let me know if you have any recollection of that as well, or if this is the first time. This is being really difficult. Okay, there we go. So that is how it opens. It doesn't fold flat, but you do get a nice big mirror here. So normally how I would start off a makeup look is to apply my makeup primer or eyelid primer and then set it with either an eyeshadow or a powder. You know you need to wash your brushes when you can't even find the one you want. But as I was saying, usually I set my primer before kind of going on to actually build the eye look. But in this case, I am not going to do that. So I'm going to take that kind of pinky shade there on my Sonia G Classic Crease. And it looks like you only get 3 mattes in this palette. So something to be aware of. So yeah, these do have a good amount of pigment. And if you do need some help as you're blending, you can always reach for either an all matte palette that you kind of use as a companion palette to other palettes, or again, just use your face powder. So just applying that in the crease, and I like to kind of look straight ahead to make sure everything is even. And then I'm going to take this kind of, I don't know, rose brown shade, I guess, and apply that a little bit more in the outer corner. Same brush, build up the depth. Okay, and then I'm going to take my Sigma Large Fluff E50 and my Charlotte Tilbury face powder here. And as I said, I'm just going to use that kind of under the brow to soften and blend. This is my Sonia G Flat Definer, and going into that shade again with this little brush and just running it under the lash line. And if I do want to soften that, I can just pick up some more face powder. Help blend. Alrighty, and then using my Sonia G Mini Booster, these brushes are all part of the same Sky Eye Set, I think it's called. Get a Beautylish. I thought I saw a fleck of something. Maybe it's just a freckle. Okay, so then using that darker brown, the very outer corner, where you want the most depth. And then just going over that with the Classic Crease again, without any more product, just to kind of blend. All right, so I think that's good for kind of the base. I might just add a touch more right there. All right, so let's use some of the fun shades. Okay, so taking a Rephr 28, I'm going to start off with that kind of middle shade there and apply this the outer corner. And often with motherships, I will do my eyes first, going into that shade now, just to prevent prevent any fallout. So taking that more in the middle. Blending. So for an inner corner highlight, I'm going to take this Rephr 26 brush and use that kind of pale champagne and just stick that like so. So I used the first 6 shades of the palette, but what I think makes her palettes the most interesting are these shades towards the end. So I'll just swatch all of those for you. And how do I want to use these? That's what they look like swatched. I feel like there aren't any kind of wrong answers here. I'm going to take the more lavender shade on my finger and just see what that does. So yeah, so I'm getting a tiny bit of fallout. So using this Spotlight Duster from Sigma. Again, this is why if I'm going in for a more kind of dramatic look with the Pat McGrath palette, I will often do my eyes first. I'm going to try that like pinkier shade maybe. Just put some of that. Okay. I feel like that makes it a little bit more exciting. Maybe even tap a little bit. At this rate, I'm just going to use all of them. Might have to clean that up in a second. And this is the gold. So I think that's about as much as I could possibly do with this palette. I will say, if you are a collector of Pat McGrath palettes and you don't have this one like me, then of course it's nice to get it at a discount. It wasn't, I think even when it launched, one of her highest reviewed palettes, so you can keep that in mind. I did a whole video kind of talking about the current state of Pat McGrath, if you want to check it out. And of course her collection, I guess you could say, for Louis Vuitton will be coming out at the end of this month, so I think I can actually use some of this shadow as eyeliner. Actually, I'm going to use the darkest kind of brown shade. This is a little BK 208 brush. So if you are, I guess, more of a kind of easy one and done, or you just want something quick, I don't know that this is a palette I would recommend that you pick up. Hopefully this demo gave you some good indication of what it might be like. All right, so let me just quickly throw on some mascara here. All right, and there is the final look. So I hope you guys found these demos helpful. Out of everything that I personally got, I think I'll probably get the most use out of the Glow Recipe Serum, the Merit Lip Oil, and the Notebook, as kind of boring and basic as that is. Oh, and the blanket probably as well, when it gets a little bit cooler. And the brow gel. Let me know if you picked up any of the same things for your box. If you are a seasonal member and you're still customizing, customization closes Tuesday night. So I hope this video is helpful for you guys. If you're not already subscribed to FabFitFun, I do have a discount link that will get you some money off an annual membership. So I'll have that for you in the description box down below. But if you did enjoy this video, I hope you will take the time to like and subscribe. And until next time, I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.